Alright, what's up? So, I decided to give a podcast a try, see how it goes. Um, Not gonna bother doing it live as of yet, anyway, especially not having a second person. Um, but this is the Enter Title Here podcast. Um, if you're wondering why enter title here. So I've spent the last 2 days trying to come up with something, and I cannot come up with anything. It's literally just do 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 all back and forth. I can't. I literally cannot come up with one alternative title name other than Nobody Cares, Don't Listen, which is even worse. So, enter title here was actually the name of our third movie years ago when we filmed our Jackass knockoff series, of which no footage exists anymore, was shot on VHS and an old Fujifilm camera that used XD cards. But our third movie was named Intertitle here, and it was the absolute mecca of our stupidity, and almost to the 20th anniversary. No, it was 2006. 2006? Yeah, 2006. 2005, 2006. After that was Gods Among Morons, which was never finished, but either way. So, we're named intertitle here, so that's just what we're going to go with. So we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 11 topics for this, so see if we can go more than like 10 minutes, but probably not. But our first topic, straight out of the gate, I got a magic remote for my TV. And it's one of those things that I just never really bothered to get, but I had the chance to pick one up, and I grabbed it. And so I have a magic remote. And that now means that for my, it's a UP6300 55 LG, in 4 years almost, I've now got three remotes, the default, when I can find it, that came with it. I've got the, which I know where that is right now. I do not know where the universal remote that is also programmed to the VCR is. I had it 2 days ago and now it's gone. I have no idea where it is. I can't find it anywhere. And now I have the magic remote, which will probably be gone in 2 days, and I won't see it for 6 months. Um, so that was an interesting experience. I knew it had the AI features. I did not realize that it was essentially um, similar to a Wii in that you have a pointer you can put on the screen to do stuff with. So I actually, for the first time since I have owned this TV in November of 2018, updated the software from 4.1 5.1, and we also updated apps, put Disney Plus on it, and named the connection for the Xbox and the Switch and the Blu-ray player. And so for the first time ever, 4 years later, I've actually completed the setup on my TV. Um, I do not expect to be able to afford an OLED for a few years, but that'll be what'll replace it. We'll be just getting an OLED, and that's going to be really cool. I want to hopefully catch a deal on a 65 OLED to replace it, and then it'll go in a box in storage somewhere to be used or given away to somebody else down the road. But yeah, that was actually really cool. I had to update for the first time and didn't break anything. We're still going. Also realized that the input I've been playing Xbox on wasn't even in game mode. The other input was in game mode, but that one was not, which didn't really make any difference because it was all in HDR anyway. Um, but yeah, that was a pretty cool adventure today. So it has a Sling TV app. I get some free money. I may do a Sling subscription so I can watch Sports Center and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Um, Second up, the video just went up last night, I think. So you can see right behind me, I have my file cabinet. So 5 drawer file cabinet for free. Um, I've been looking for a file cabinet for a while now to store all my manuals and pamphlets and loose stuff in. And one of the things about the last 2 years is that a lot of stuff legitimately went up because demand went up and um, stock went down. And other stuff, people have just kind of thrown ridiculous prices at the wall to see what will stick. And right now, to go out and buy a 5 drawer file cabinet is between $600 and $900. Like while I was editing the video, I could not find a website that had a 5 drawer file cabinet for under $600. Even a 4 drawer I could not find for under 260, 270. And for a while there were none on Facebook. For used to be 25, $30. A few have cropped up, but I've just not really needed it. Plus I have to have the truck. So I was running dog crates up here Tuesday. One of the businesses on the road, they're it's a party business. They do like professional grade party planning, like proms and that kind of stuff. And they had just set out a bunch of stuff with a sign that says free items on it. And they had a pallet of 3 5 drawer file cabinets and a pallet of 3 3 drawer file cabinets. And I just happened to have the truck and said, I'm not going to miss this. So I turned around and went back. I was only able to fit the one in. I was surprised I was even able to get it up into the bed of the truck by myself. I wish had I not had the mower, I would have been able to get 2 of them. But of course, when I went back, literally everything was gone except the Christmas tree that they had out, which, what a surprise. Everything was just cleaned out. But they had those. They also had 2 4 drawers that had been spray painted green. Like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in that. So I'm really happy with that. So it's just more cleaning and organization, and we're slowly getting there. Since I've just kind of stopped packing up too much because I don't want stuff to get lost. So the offer that we had on the house fell through, so it's back on the market. So I've got both dogs and the collection up here, so filming is kind of hit and miss. They're doing better at keeping quiet, but as long as they're quiet, then I can get some stuff filmed. But outside of that, there's not. It's just kind of hit and miss. So I do have some stuff coming. So what's on the dock for this week? I've got the 20th anniversary Xbox controller with the matching Razer stand. That is filmed and edited. That is ready to go up. And then we'll skip a topic here. I had the opportunity to unbox the most ridiculous collector's edition that I have personally ever had the opportunity to unbox. And the only thing that I can even think of in the 16 years of game retail that I have now is the only thing more ridiculous is the Titanfall collector's edition, which I would love to get my hands on, but those have not really dropped all that much, and they're so huge that it's just maybe one day. But it's like way down the list of stuff that I don't need. But I got to unbox the Destroy All Humans Crypto 137 edition, complete with the 23-inch statue, the backpack. It's insane how ridiculous this thing is. And I had the fun of being able to unbox and add that to the display. Like that's how tall the statue by itself is. Like, this thing is ridiculously huge, and the box is not as big as the G9 box, but it's still ridiculously huge. The box is sitting on the table, and you can't even see it. This camera is so ridiculous. You can kind of see it. The box is a good 4 foot tall, so it's really awesome. And if you complain that I'm washed out, I have no clue how to change anything on like this camera. Like, I've got a light directly above me that's in the ceiling, and if I turn it off, I don't have anything else, as the kids broke my ring light. So I really have absolutely no way of trying to... Let's see, is there... No. Oh, maybe that'll work. Let's see. Auto. It has everything for auto. Yeah, like, no. That does kind of actually look more realistic, though. Maybe not. I don't know. Contrast? Ooh, definitely not. Definitely not. Did I get that back to default? There we go. Default. Yeah. Brightness? No. Oh, we can just go black and white. There we go. Just do this as a black and white podcast. So yeah, I don't know. I don't spending the money on like the 1080 webcam is just not something. Like spending 70-80 bucks on 1080 webcam is just not something that's really a priority to me right now. And of course, as soon as I open that up, that hurts. So how much light is reflecting off of it? So see, trying to get back to somewhat on topic. I've not talked about it yet, but we do pretty much have GeForce 4000 and Ryzen 7000 on the dock for this fall as expected. I do not expect to have the money to do anything with either of those, but my next upgrade would definitely be a 7000. I'm running a 3700X with a 3060, and while I would like to have faster render times, a 7800X, or I'd love a 7950X, but then we're getting into AIO, and I don't really want to mess with that, and trying to keep a 7950X on air just isn't really worth it, even though I won't ever overclock it. Probably just do a 7900X. See if, depending on pricing, depending on what I'm making this fall. If I'm able to work 60 hours a week through fourth quarter, then it'd be a whole different story. Or if we sell the house, it'd be a whole different story. But it's what I've got does what I want it to do, except that I'm on the ASRock B550M Steel Legend, and even though it's under a heatsink, my 970 Evo just gets blazing hot. What are we at right now? It's at 51 degrees. 970 Evo Plus is at 51 degrees, and it will usually stay between 51 and 54, even cleaning the fans out, and it's in open airflow, and I've got the fan in the back intaking with the fans out front going out, and it's just not fans in the front, in, out the back, but nothing it just doesn't cool. My terabyte drive, my data drive's running at 45, and that's only because I'm writing to it as I'm recording, but it's frustrating. The drive will overheat and freeze, and I may seriously go to a 2.5 inch SSD with the next upgrade, because this has been just not a great experience, even with the heatsink on it. But I love being able to copy data between... Oh, and I don't really ever copy from the C drive. From the M2, from the, was it the Sabrent? SPCC, so Silicon Power. The 1TB to the Exos array is consistently 400 megabytes per second. So, I don't want to give that speed up, but probably for the boot drive, because in this case I can just put it right next to the fan blowing across, and I know it'll stay cool with that. But I don't know, that's a long way away. I got a bunch of other stuff to figure out between now and then. Another one talk about it a little bit in the crypto unboxing video. So I am getting very close to finally completing my Power Rangers DVD set. I'm down to just 6 seasons left in the first 17. Those first 17 was at the end of RPM was when they released Shout Factory released the whole thing. And I finally was able to stop buying the German sets with a. At one point, I had all the German sets with a region-free DVD player, and God, what those are worth now is ridiculous. But cashed them in for the English versions once those all started coming out. So I am down to just 6 seasons left. Actually, just finished logging in Dino Thunder. Pick up Dino Thunder and RPM. I think all I need still is Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, Wild Force, Ninja Storm, and Mystic Force. Yeah, that's it. So it's just those 6. So I want to get those while they are still active, because right now those are about $11 to $12 per season, and if you collect 90s TV DVDs, especially the Shout Factory stuff, and are aware of what the prices have done for Beetleborgs and VR Troopers once those went out of print. Beetleborgs went from $20 for each of the 4 volumes to now $200 per volume or more. VR is not as bad, but it's still ridiculously up there. So the number one thing, if I'm spending money right now, is finishing up the Power Rangers seasons. I'm already seeing the newer sets are proving much tougher. They've already come and gone as discontinued, and it's getting harder to find. And some of the newer, like the Mega Force ones, are $60 for the set, when they really were like 15, 20, maybe 25 when they came out. So we'll cross that when we come to it, but we're down to 6 seasons left. So I'm really happy about that, because I know that's going to be one of those things that I really regret not getting when it goes discontinued. Because once that goes out of print, those are going to be ridiculously expensive. I also, on a side note, also just picked up this while Walmart still has it for $25. Because this was high at the top of my list, because these are the ones that I grew up with before Nickelodeon ruined them. 193 episodes. It's a total of 73 hours, which brings the collection that I have cataloged over 102,000 minutes or something like that. So I think there's still some in storage that I need to find, but it's over 300. So I've got a lot of backlog once I get debt and some other stuff paid down to try to go back and look at. But just kind of using predictability as to what is good to grab now while I can before it goes absolutely ridiculous. Danny Phantom is also on that list. I need to get that while I can still find that for $20, because once that goes out of print, that's going to be 80 to 100 all day long. And they need to release Codename Kids Next Door on DVD, the complete series. I don't care what that random employee at Suncoast 10 years ago says they do. There is no official Kids Next Door release, and I'm still waiting for it. So in other news, I am making a conscious effort to back away from being at the computer so much and try to do more and film more and play more. So I'm working a lot and spending a lot of time at the computer doing stuff that just is pretty much meaningless or pointless. And I have been putting more time into Forza Horizon 5, and I'm kind of settling into a groove. You earn credits really slowly, and I hate that after each race it tells you how many XP you earned, but it does not tell you how many credits you earned. And I've not even to 1,000 miles yet, which is kind of frustrating. I'm maybe around 700 miles driven, and it's Forzathon is really annoying. Their seasons this year are really annoying. Like, I cannot drift. I've never been able to successfully get the hang of drifting in any video game. I hate it. I don't do it. It's just always a disaster, and it ends up being a giant frustration. And they put so much focus and requirement on that kind of stuff that it's impossible. I 100%ed the first Horizon, the original Horizon on 360. I've never 100%ed one since then. Even just a lot of the um, boards, you have to make a jump of several hundred feet that's completely random, and you can try it 30 times and not get close, and it just ends up causing a breakdown, and I just don't even try doing it anymore. Um, but I also hate the constantly bugging you to open your next adventure, and I'm like, no, I'm not opening the next adventure. I'm doing these races. Stop demanding that I continue the adventure. I don't want to do that, because when I do that, you're going to make me drive all over the map to do a mission, and I don't want to do that when I'm trying to drive to a race that I want to finish on this round. And it's not as bad as the Horizon 2 interface for Xbox One, where you had to do 3 races and then a road trip, and it was just constant driving back and forth. That was the worst interface in a racing game. This one is just super, super annoying. And I'm basically being forced to do dirt races right now because that's all that I can do. So I basically have to try to just do as much as possible to get enough stars to unlock all of the festival events, so it will shut up and stop demanding that I unlock festival events. Because every time I do anything, it pulls the menu up. You need to choose your next. No, I'm not choosing my next event. Just stop it and let me play the game the way I want to. Um, but the first 2 hours that I played with it, I was not into it at all. Now I'm finally starting to settle into a groove and starting to really enjoy it. The other side of that is that I'm really just not interested in MLB The Show this year. And I don't know if it's because I had my 21 character is approaching 200 wins, and of course they don't let you carry any of that over, which is absolutely BS. But I made the majors in my first season, and I'm playing on the default settings, so the games should go fairly quickly, and they usually run about 16 minutes apiece, but it's still just... there's not very many ground outs, there's not very many pop outs, it's basically strikeout or hit, and it's just not a lot of balance, and it's just really frustrating. It's like I expect that if I've got the sliders cranked way down, but not just at the default. It's just not holding my interest this year. But that's... I've got such a backlog because I've played like 2 hours of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands and then have just kind of forgotten about it. So I'm basically trying to work as much as possible. I have an hour drive each way, so there's just not a lot of time. So it's either like try to come up with something to film a video, or play Paper Mario, or play some Forza. And right now with Paper Mario, I'm just kind of... I want to. I know I would enjoy it, but I just don't really find myself doing it. And I've still got a few episodes of that to upload before I'm really at a point where, okay, I need to go play this now. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. And then to make the gaming dilemma even worse, Amazon is now allowing PS5 sales by invitation, which I did request an invitation. I signed up with with Sony for their direct purchase program with their invitation. I've had 2 invitations, and it says your invitation window opens at 2 o'clock Eastern. Go in at 2:01, and it says that you have 17 minutes until you're eligible to buy, and then refresh it 10 minutes later or even 2 minutes later, and it says everything's gone, you're out of luck. And the email also says, do not click this link prior to 2 o'clock or else you will not be eligible. It'll mess the link up, and you can lose your eligibility spot. So I log in at 2 o'clock, and well, you're already 300 in line, and yada yada. So I'm hoping, and Amazon said they can't guarantee a fulfillment of all orders. I love the way the EVGA did their wait queue. Because yes, I waited 14 months for a shot at my 3060, but I had 20 hours and I had one guaranteed. And it was a guaranteed. It took forever, but it wasn't this stupid game of you get this invitation and you go in when it says to go in, and you're hopelessly in line so bad that you'll never have a shot at getting it because bots have already eaten the complete thing away. As opposed to waiting for, hey, this is one for you, earmarked with your name on it. If you want it, come get it. So, we'll see. Probably won't get it. Haven't decided if I would even pull the trigger on it if I got an invite and a shot to do one. Don't know. We'll see. Just kind of see how the summer goes. Speaking of how the summer goes, Samsung has announced that they will no longer be making LCD screens. I'm kind of okay with this. So I left a comment on the WAN show from today about, in response to their discussing TCL and Roku, those Samsung really doesn't sell a lot of LCD TVs anymore. In the years that I sold TVs at retail, I always push Samsung and LG because I prefer LG TVs personally, and when we had a wall of TVs, LG and Samsung were our most reliable with the most enjoyable interface. Vizio's interface is garbage. Even just trying to turn it on in the morning, if you had for a while we had the TV next to it used a similar remote frequency, but it wasn't the same. So when you would change the input on the TV next to it, the Vizio would start searching for network. And it has to search for its network, and then you have to go get the Vizio remote, and you have to press input and change back to HDMI 2, because anything that you do, that TV wants to search for its network, and it wants to go into casting mode. They do not want you to use that TV for anything other than casting. We bought Dad a Vizio TV when his went out a few years ago, and he made us take it out of the room because he was going to throw it through a wall, because all he had to do was just try to adjust the volume, and it looking for network. You're not connected to a network, you can't use this TV. It just was constantly looking for the network. Any button that you press, and literally all he needed was to just turn it on and off, because he never left HDMI 1 because he used a satellite box. And the TV would just randomly, without even having to use the remote to do anything, it would just randomly start searching for network and go into casting mode. And I can see that in a retail display where people with random phones are walking by all the time. The TV might pick up on something, which is still unacceptable. But in a house where there's nothing, in a completely controlled environment, where there's no reason for that TV to just randomly start looking for the network and stop what you were watching, it's completely unacceptable. So the only thing that I really push to people if they ask an opinion is going to be LG and Samsung. The TCL TVs have horrible failure rates. Ever since they started, I've ever had to start working with them or dealing with them, their failure rates are terrible. Usually the backlight will go out within the first 6 to 8 months. If they survive past that, they either turn purple or they turn blue. And one of the problems with that is that if you don't have 30 TVs next to each other, you're not going to notice that your image is not what it should be. Maybe you will, but most people won't, unless you have a proper image next to it to show the difference. You just don't notice it. But in our case, we always had a lot of problems. And the Hisense, when they bought Sharp, were very, very highly expected. The problem that I have with the Hisense sets that I've worked with is they literally take up to a minute to boot, because it loads off a variant of the Android operating system, and it would drive me absolutely nuts. I can't stand that my TV takes 10 seconds to turn on, especially from standby, because you don't really have anything physically turning off. Everything goes to standby. And the Element TVs, all of it, yes, Chinese brands completely dominate the LCD market, and I'm perfectly fine with Samsung not making LCD screens anymore. They're going to focus on OLED and QLED, and absolutely, I'm all for that, because there's no point in being in a market where you're not competing. And if you're sending TVs to Walmart and you maybe sell 5 in a year and the rest of them clearance out, then there's no point in continuing that market. Even most everything anymore, especially with micro LED and other stuff coming, there's no point in keeping with LCD panels. The other thing is, a lot of those cheaper panels that you're competing with aren't full backlight. They'll use quadrant backlighting, which is basically an upgraded edge lit screen, and it's just not even worth it. A lot of those cheaper Element and TCL, which is one of the ways TCL is so cheap, is that TCL is not a 4K screen. It's 4 1080p screens together, with the image then merged across the 4 to give you your 4K resolution. Maybe they have changed that in the last 2-3 years since I've dealt with that stuff, but I doubt it. I mean, we would even see issues where one quadrant would go out. And when you're talking about a 60-inch TV for $200, $300, that's how you're going to do it. You're going to have edge lighting, and you're going to have that screen made up of 4 processing zones that then merge your image into one, and that's how you have it. And it also depends on the consumer, because again, if you take that $300 65-inch TV and you put it at home and you don't have anything else near it, you're going to think it's fine. And especially the people that is marketed to aren't going to care. They see no point in spending $700 for a higher low-end Samsung when they can get 2. And I've literally seen people, well, I can get 2 of these for the price of that Samsung, give me 2. And if one breaks, I don't care, I'll just look up the other one. Okay, sure, go for it. But I'm also somebody that, in my experience, I would rather spend the more because I will get money's worth out of it. And even then, my TV's coming up on 4 years old this fall. I paid $369 in 2018, and I don't see any issues whatsoever. Now, if I brought a brand new of the exact same model home and put it up next to it, maybe I would see something. But I don't see any issues. I don't have any complaints. Put up next to my G9, I don't see any complaints. Colors look fine. I don't see any brightness issues. I see no issues, and I see no reason why that TV won't last another 4 or 5 years or more. And again, people, I used a TV for a monitor for years, because for the kind of stuff that I do on my computer, the screen real estate is worth it. And I had a 40-inch Scepter that I bought on Black Friday for like $180, and used that as my computer monitor for probably 2 years, and it was incredible because I could scan documents and see what I was working on. And I am one of those people that I will never give you a hard time for using a TV for a computer monitor. I'm absolutely for it. If you're going to buy a 60 hertz computer monitor, buy a TV instead. It's going to be worth your money. If you're looking for gaming, then yes, buy a higher refresh rate, better response time monitor. But for office tasks, get a bigger TV. It's not a big deal. And that is one of the biggest ways to trigger PC Master Race people, and I don't care. I've used it for years. Now, would I trade my G9 for a TV? Absolutely. Hell no. Including a big format gaming display? Hell no. 65 is too big. I want the resolution. So I had a 4K 28-inch monitor beforehand, and that was great because I could just fit YouTube on one half and SuperCard with BlueStacks on the other half. But with this thing, I can fit YouTube on one side. I can fit 2 File Explorer windows, moving files back and forth for videos that I'm editing, and SuperCard in the corner with video editing behind it, and I can do all of it at once. Because it's so ridiculous how much real estate I have and how high the resolution is. For productivity, it is absolutely second to none. And it is much simpler in my experience than a multi-monitor configuration, because with a multi-monitor configuration you always run the risk of Windows forgetting which monitor is which, and you technically have multiple desktops, whereas this is just all one desktop. And I have zero interest in going back. I can't go back. I really can't even stand going back to a square monitor again, unless my use case absolutely changed. So to me, is $1,500 for a G9 worth it? Hell yes, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Especially get it for, I paid well under $1,000 for it, brand new, in last December. Is the Neo worth like twice the money? No. But having now being in a position where I use a QLED display every day, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with LCDs going away in favor of QLED. QLED especially is cheap enough that it's worth the little bit extra that you'll pay over an LCD if you don't need the OLED level of display. Yeah, good rant. Actually remembered what I was talking about. I also only got a couple more things left. I logged into PCMag.com today. If you're older, there was a time when PC Magazine was like the thing. Like that was the PC Magazine back when the internet was in its infancy, and you'd have decent reviews, and that'd be kind of where you'd go if you were bored to just kind of see what was going on. And that and Maximum PC, which I don't like Future US as a publisher. I cannot stand their magazine formats. I did, after they took over Nintendo Power, I stopped subscribing because it was just borderline unreadable to me. I just did not care for it at all. Same thing when they did with Maximum PC. And then, of course, they completely closed that brand. I'm pretty sure. What does that even log into? Yeah, so they've completely even shut down the website. The website used to redirect somewhere, but they've completely shut it off. So every once in a while, I like to just jump on PC Magazine and see just how, if there's anything that I can find that I even remotely am interested in. And if you wonder how Tech YouTube is so popular, with the stuff that LMG is doing and Gamers Nexus is doing and Jay is doing, and you look over at PC Magazine and the stuff that they have, it's like I can get more relevant information from 5 minutes of a Gamers Nexus video than I can from this homepage. Like the latest, the best 60% keyboards for 2022. The best back-to-school laptop deals for 2022. I'll actually look at that one. I'm going to bet... Oh, and they have an Alienware right on the front page. So you immediately know that this is going to be BS. The best back-to-school laptop deals: Apple MacBook Air M1, 256 gig SSD, 13.3 silver for $899. List price $999. Dell XPS 9305, Intel i7 512 gig SSD for $899. That sounds kind of suspicious. Lenovo Flex 5i Intel i3 14-inch 1080 touch laptop for $279. List price $539. That's what? That's actually almost like Walmart price points. Inspiron 14 with a Ryzen 5 2-in-1 touch for $6. And then, of course, just because they, have to under some weird law that Alienware is king, Alienware X15 i7 3070 for $1599. I'll tell you, if you've even thought about an Alienware in the last couple of years, go look up some of Gamers Nexus's reviews, because Dell has just destroyed Alienware. I would not touch that with any kind of a pole. Let's see. So for $279, you get an i3 1080 resolution. Boy, they really don't even show like anything on this. Oh, and it is from Walmart. Lenovo Flex 5i. So you get an i3 11th generation, 4 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of onboard storage. Now it says an M.2 PCIe SSD. That's not bad. It actually says work, game, create, and stream at maximum speeds and no limits. Not with that hardware. 4 gigs LPDDR4X and a 11th Gen i3. Yeah, you're probably not even playing Minecraft on that comfortably. But you can video chat. Oh, and intelligent cooling. Keep your rig cool and quiet under heavy loads with intelligent cooling while optimizing your fans for balance and performance. Yeah, no, definitely don't think I would touch that. Yeah, that's ridiculous. XPS 13, yeah, I wanted to look at this one. Starting at $949. What did they say that right? What did they say that XPS 14 was? XPS 13, starting at $899. Okay, so that's right. 11th Gen i7, 4-core, 8-thread, quad-core processor for $900. That's Intel graphics, 13.3-inch Full HD, non-touch, 16 gigs of LPDDR4, 512 gig M.2 SSD, class 35. I'm not sure what class 35 means, unless that means it's 3.5. 3500 megabit, which would be a Gen 3. Yeah, that's probably what it is. But it includes Wi-Fi 6. Go to Gen 3. Okay. Gen 3 PCIe on an 11th Gen i7. Okay. And of course, they include 1 year support in the price. But they actually show no warranty is selected by default. Can you even upgrade the... Oh, good grief. This is so stupid. You can add Microsoft 365. You can add Microsoft Office. You can add McAfee. 3 different versions of McAfee included in the price. I would not want McAfee. That'd be a deal breaker right there. I would not want McAfee. See, recommended accessories. So, universal dock for $355. $80 backpack. $40 DVD drive. Dell Premier wireless keyboard and mouse, $88. And these are all sale prices. Mobile adapter speakerphone, $150. Wireless noise canceling headset, $240. Good grief. Dell UltraSharp 27-inch 4K USB-C hub monitor, $622, on sale from $819. Let me just say it again. Dell UltraSharp 27-inch 4K USB-C hub monitor. I expand that? No, it'll just let me select it. So it doesn't even give you, like, with brilliant color and contrast, and features the industry's first IPS black technology and a connectivity hub. So that retails for $18.99. and it's on sale for $622 if you bought it with this laptop. I paid $900 for a 49-inch. The most badass 49-inch ultra-wide you will find. This is a ripoff. But we're on Dell's website, so we already know that's going to be a ripoff. Hey, JBL Charge 5 for $149. That's actually industry standard sale price. Good job. But there's literally nothing about this laptop that you can upgrade or change. Literally nothing about this laptop that you can upgrade or change. It's just all accessories and software. You can't add more RAM. You can't do it. Oh my god, this is so dumb. And you get a 720p 30 FPS webcam. So dumb. You can't even add more RAM to it. So dumb. Okay. So we have best portable monitors for 22, best gaming laptops for 22, best laptop deals for June 22, best computer mice for 2022, Audi e-tron GT review. Cryptocurrency scams cost consumers over $1 billion since 2021. Best TV deals for June 22. Best computer monitor deals for June 2022. Spec Showdown, the original IBM 5150 versus today's PCs. That's actually interesting. 20 most influential PCs of the last 40 years. That's decent. Bill Gates on the next 40 years in technology. Okay. Walmart Plus exclusive deal access for paid members on a daily deal. But that's like mostly what this is. How to watch 4K broadcast TV, a guide to ATSC 3.0. So, the closest major city to me actually only broadcasts most of its stuff in 720. Make cybersecurity fun. PC Labs. I think there's not really any like real information that I really care about. Like best products, reviews a little bit. Like okay, so how to block robotext and spam messages. Good luck with that. Boost your Wi-Fi. Build your smartphone. Like this is mostly just. I remember when PC Magazine like catered to the more technical crowd, and now it's just like they're trying to cater to people who don't really know anything. And you know, good luck to them. Obviously, it's working, but you know, stuff like this is why the rest of us are watch tech YouTube. I mean, this is just kind of ridiculous. It's insane. Oh, this should be good. Okay. Let's see if I can keep the mic over here so you can hear this. Okay, so the IBM PC 5150, 1981, tested configuration was $3,000 or $9,200 in today's market. Ran an Intel 8088 at 4.77 megahertz, 64K of installed RAM with 256K maximum. However, that is not 100% correct. You could get adapter boards that would fit into your ISA slots. You could get the full 640. And I'm 99% sure of that. Make sure. I know you could get, I swear you can get 640K with adapter boards. Yes, up to 640K with internal expansion cards, yeah. DRAM, I don't think that is correct. It would have technically been a form of an IC. I can't imagine that being qualified as DRAM. I want to say it was SRAM, but either way, primary storage is 160K floppy. That'd be the 5 1/4 inch, not the 8 inch. Those were already gone by the time the 5150 came out. IBM monochrome display adapter, no optical drive, obviously. 11.5-inch monochrome IBM model 5151, which I have right there. That's a 5151. Green. That's the green one. No camera, duh. External ports, 1 keyboard. Fun fact, the 5150, 5160, and 5170 all used non-interchangeable, mostly non-interchangeable keyboards. You can't use an XT key. You have to have an XT keyboard for an XT. That's why my Model F is I was getting it for my Model F is like a $300 keyboard because it's an XT Model F. You could get parallel, serial, or mouse via expansion, sound card via expansion, although it was definitely not really designed with sound in mind. Did have an internal mono speaker, IBM PC-DOS 1.0 with BASIC, CP/M, and Pascal. Weighed 25 pounds with 1 diskette drive, 28 pounds with 2. I think that should be hard diskette drive, not the floppies weren't 3 pounds. And then they also compare an IBM PS2 Model 50 from 1987 without the monitor, retailed for $3,600 or $9,000 in today's money. Had a 286 at 10 megahertz. Came with its maximum installed memory at 1 megabyte. It again also says DRAM. That would have been a Model 50. It would have probably been a 72-pin SIM. I think they're using DRAM a little bit of artistic license, because I don't think it was SRAM, but I want to say it wasn't true like DRAM like we know today. Primary storage is a 20 megabyte hard drive with a 1.44 meg 3.5-inch floppy, although by the time the Model 50 came around, they should have had the 2.88 drives in most of those. Standard VGA adapter, no optical, no monitor included, no camera, had PS2 ports for keyboard and mouse. It's the PS2 line. Had a bidirectional parallel port and a serial port. Could add a sound card. Did not have an internal speaker. Interesting. I've not had a 50. I would think it would have had some sort of speaker. PC-DOS 3.3 ready for the OS2 upgrade in 1988 for an extra $325. Did not include any software as tested, and weighed in at 21 pounds. So I'm going to add a little bit more to this. I had a Model 80 that I wish I kept. I can tell you, with my kids, I'm going to be one change that I will definitely do with my kids versus how when I was a kid. In 1994, I had saved mowing lawns to, maybe it was 1995, somewhere in that area. I had saved mowing lawns to buy a Model 80 with monitor from the church after they retired it, and the hard drive controller went out, and the people at the church told my parents that, well, that's obsolete technology, you will never find a microchannel hard disk controller. And I was pretty well forced to throw it out because it was unrepairable. And then 5 years later, eBay popped up, and along with it, microchannel stuff became readily accessible. And as time went on, more of it became readily accessible. And now, with how hard it is to find a remotely halfway decent Model 80, plus how expensive those have become, it's just so annoyingly frustrating that like 3 or 4 different people all said, this is unrepairable. You will never, never find an MCA card to repair this. It needs to be thrown out. It's worthless. And it went to the dump. And I'm still not over it. 20 years later, I'm still not over it. Now, I have my Model 35 prototype, Frankenstein, whatever it is. It's basically a Model 56 with on a Model 35 planar. And that was 1993. No idea what it cost. That's an 80. That's a 486 SLC2 at 50 megahertz. It had 4 megabytes of RAM soldered onto the board. I've got two 16 megabyte chips in it, so it's got 20 megs total. It can only use 16. That had an 80 megabyte hard drive. I have a 500 in it. 2.88 meg floppy drive. XGA graphics. I actually have a DVD drive in it right now. Monitors, just whatever I use. PS2 ports. More than capable of running Windows 95. That is one of the most badass PCs you'll ever see from that era. And then they also compared it to a 2011 Lenovo ThinkCentre Edge 91Z AIO. It was $1,300, $1,700 in today's. That had a 2600S 2.8 gig quad core, maxed out at 8 gigs DDR3, terabyte hard drive, Radeon HD 6500 DVD drive. That was a 21-inch TFT. TFT. 6 USB 2.0s, HDMI, VGA, yada yada yada. 18 software included. This is how you know how much BS like these sites are. Software included: Norton Internet Security 2011 30-day trial, Adobe Reader, Skype for Windows, Microsoft Office 2010, Coral Burn Now, Coral DVD Movie Factory, Coral Win DVD Rescue and Recovery, Password Manager, Think Vantage Utilities. This is why you don't buy pre-builds. And it also says, just as tested, but what? The newest PC is a heck of a lot lighter. Check out the vast differences. So this literally gives no information. It says as tested, but there's like nothing. It's literally just the shipping specs. That's insane. Not only that, they have scans from their 1987 issue featuring the Model 50 that don't actually expand. Like, can I look at these in any way, shape, or form? Does not look like it. Yeah, no. I can't actually zoom into anything. And then they showed a 2020 Lenovo all-in-one, $800, 10th Gen i3, 4 gigs. 4 gigs with a maximum of 64. That sounds like some BS right there. 500 gig hard drive with a solid state optional. Integrated UHD graphics. Option for AMD Radeon 625 mobile. 1080 camera. Bunch of USBs. Sound card Dolby Atmos. Dolby Atmos with 3-watt integrated speakers and a noise cancelling mic. Yeah, sure. And that weighs 16.6 pounds with stand, but it'll feel a lot lighter. I don't think I have anything to weigh mine. I want to say my XT weighs more than 28 pounds. I want to say it's probably closer to 35. And I would be surprised if my Model 56 or my Model 35 are only 21 pounds. I would expect they'd be heavier than that. Now, 16.6 pounds for a 2020 AIO sounds a little heavy, because I can guarantee you there's no metal in that 2020 Lenovo, but those IBMs are all metal. Like those things, even without the computer inside the case, those things weigh a ton. So yeah, we're at an hour for this already. Holy crap. And then the other thing that I had note in the doc was we're in Days of Play. Did anybody even really know that we're in Days of Play? I feel like Days of Play this year has just been a complete flop because nobody has PS5s. And I've not been notified of any new drops for PS5s, nothing from Direct. Like they did Days of Play and didn't even make an effort to get consoles into people's hands. They just gave like all of our DualSense controllers are $60. We're not giving you anything off the DualShock 4s. If you still want any of those, you got to pay full price. And here's great PS4 greatest hits games for $10, and here's the same sales that we've been running on PS4 and PS5 games for the last 3 months. And it's Days of Play, have fun, and it's just like dead. I I just don't know. I mean, I know people prefer the PS5 over the Series X. I still prefer the Series X, which I have. Which I have. I've secured one, but I just feel like Sony is kind of resting on their laurels. Like we've already won this generation, so we can just do whatever, and it's not going to make that big a difference. But it's just kind of really annoying. It's just so annoying. But yeah, I think that's all I've got. I figured I'd be lucky to go 10 minutes, then we caught a couple rants and we went an hour. So, hey, I'm sure nobody will watch this, but if you did, thanks for watching. We'll try to do some more of these. Peace.